Oh, what's up, my dudes? Okay. Interesting little idea for a video right here. I know this has kind of been going around a little bit since we got Christian Craig still in Supercross. I know a lot of people kind of been asking this sort of question or saying, you know, Craig's too old, he's sandbagging, he's whatever. So I thought it was interesting enough to come in here and make a video on Smithy Boy out here on the 250, just trying to make it around the track, you know what I'm saying, Doug? And Smithy Boy also on Pluto right now, so, you know, bear with the old home dog here. So my opinion on this whole entire age thing, right? All these older dudes like Vince Melty, you know, that dude, he's in there as well. His situation was a lot more weird, though, Vince Freezy, because he you know, he's in the 450 class for so long and rode in the 450 class at the front of the 450 class for so long. So for him to go backwards at this point really is bizarre. Obviously, Craig has rode like just a little bit in the 450 class. I don't even know how much Supercross he's done, but I know he did at least a little bit of outdoors on the 450 on that Star Yamaha. But what I was trying to get across, though, is like, I don't blame Christian Craig at all for continuing to try to pro race and get, you know, on a better team for his 450 career. You know what I'm saying? If he was to just try to jump to 450s right now, he wouldn't get on a very good team, and that basically always spells, you know, they ain't never really going to get that good of results in the 450 class without being on that better team like that. Just like Craig's wife was saying on that last Supercross, they had a little moment there where they, the last Supercross broadcast, right? You guys probably saw that, where his wife was talking about, like, you know, what else are we supposed to do, right? And I can totally understand that side of it. You know, I'm definitely not blaming Craig at all for continuing to want to race, even though he's 30 years old in the 250 class, right? I don't blame him because he's just following the rules, you know? If there was a rule against it, then Craig wouldn't do it. So you can't blame a guy for following the rules and being it, you know what I mean? But what I will say is, I really think AMA Supercross needs to have a rule in there. It's very simple. I don't know why they have all this point out system, all this kind of crap. All you need is anybody over the age of 30 should not be able to race in the 250 class. Period. And that's really all there is to it. 30 and up should not be able to race in the 250 class. So I think that's like a foolproof system right there, bro. Because when you think about it, that's really what the 250 class is made for, dog. And by the way, guys, be sure and go follow me up on Instagram at Spencer Turley, no spaces and no capital letters. Go follow up the dude, okay? But yeah, I think that would be a lot better of a system, and it would prevent some of this, you know, very, very different age groups in the smaller class. I know Christian Craig, he didn't actually race all of those years. He kind of had that little bit of a retirement. So if it makes sense for anybody to be doing it when they're 30, I mean, I can definitely see Craig, you know what I mean, because he wasn't just in there trying to do it for the past 10 years. Like, he definitely had a time there where he was basically retired. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not blaming Craig at all, but I do think AMA needs a age, you know, restriction rule to the 250 class so that it can truly allow just the younger generation kids in their, you know, late teens and 20s. That seems more like the 250 class to me in my head. When I think of a 250 class, it's definitely not anybody in their 30s, like, at all. That is bizarre. Obviously, Christian Craig he's just now 30, so he would be like right on that borderline. If I was the guy running AMA Supercross, that's what I would do. I mean, don't you guys find it a little bit bizarre that, like, Austin Forkner is running into the risk of pointing out, and he's I don't even know if Fortner is like, what is he, like 6-7 years younger than Craig? And he's about to point out in the same class that Craig's in. Do you see how that doesn't really add up very much? I mean, hell, it seems to me like they've both been in about as many of the same, like, championship fights before. It don't really make a whole lot of sense that somebody at Craig's age can be in the 250 class, but somebody like Fortner is pointing out. It just, I don't know. I can't quite wrap my head around that sort of rule set. But, you know, that was the big thing I wanted to get across in this video. Like, I know there's a lot of people trying to say that Craig's like sandbagging or whatever. And like, I mean, I get it. You know, it is really bizarre seeing a 30-year-old dude in the 250 class with all these kids that are like just getting into it. You know, it kind of goes against what the 250 class is. That's the whole point. You know, you've got to have a area for your dudes that kind of have to get that more of a start into it before they want to go in there and race with the biggest dogs in the class. You know, you got to kind of have that transitional class between amateurs and then racing with motherfuckers like James Stewart. You know, you got to have an in-between. And it is bizarre seeing some of these individuals that are up there in the age group of 30 or older in that sort of a class that is really strictly meant for dudes just going in there trying to get on a 450, you know, younger dudes in their like 18, 19, 20 to 25, you know, that's like what I would call the prime range of a like 250 rider, like 18 to 25. And then it starts getting into that age range of like, all right, what are you doing? You know, and Craig is certainly right on that edge of age group when it comes to that. But and it almost like, in a way to me, when Craig's out there racing dudes like, you know, let's see if I can think about all the, like Joe Shimoda, Seth Hamaker, you know, some of these kind of guys, he's like racing side by side with them, but they're literally like almost a decade younger than Craig. Or are a decade younger than Craig. That I can't lie, dude. There is something very, very bizarre about that. And it almost, like I was saying, it almost makes it to where it kind of takes away a little bit of the impressiveness of what Craig is doing for me personally. Because, like, well, yeah, of course Craig should be out there smoking them by 20 seconds every main event. Yeah, of course he should. Most of these guys, it's like their first or second year in Supercross. They're like, you know, first or second real season in Supercross. He's not really racing with anybody that has all that much of experience in it. So to me, when it's like that, it's like, well, of course Craig is supposed to be winning. Of course he's supposed to be getting the fastest lap times. He's got the age. He's got the experience. He's got all the time in the world over these certain dudes. So, you know, I wanted to make that very clear in this video. I'm not blaming Craig. He's just following the rules. And I totally understand doing that. You know, if AMA is not going to have a rule against 30 years or older dudes being in the 250 class, then take advantage of it, you know. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with taking advantage of that, but I'm just saying I personally think AMA needs to get to that point where they've got an age lock, like an age restriction on the actual class itself. I think that would help a lot with everything, you know. I mean, good Lord, some of these kids just trying to get a 250 championship should not have to be racing with dudes that are 30 and over. That's a little overkill. That's a little extreme, you know what I mean? Just to give you an example, Ricky Carmichael retired at the age of what, 27? 26, something like that. So imagine everything Ricky Carmichael did in his career, and he still wasn't even the age of Christian Craig. You see why it's a little bizarre that Craig's still in the 250 class? Somebody of Craig's age, I should say. That's kind of insane either way you slice it. You know what I mean? It's kind of insane, dog. It is a little bit crazy, bro. And my sort of thought with it as well is like, okay, so what if Craig goes out there and wins the Supercross championship this year, and he gets a ride on Star Yamaha on the 450 or whatever? Like, how much longer is Craig really going to be able to race in the 450 class? How how much more of a career can you really have when you're just starting to go to the 450 class at 30 years old? You see what I'm saying here? It's like Craig may have what? If he wins the 250 championship this year, he might have what? 1 or 2, maybe 3 good years in the 450 class before he's pretty much on the other side of that, like, you know, your prime age range for Supercross. Of course, you can still go in there and have one good result here and there. I'm not saying you can't do that. Obviously, Justin Brayton and everybody, all them dudes like that, you know, Chad Reed, whatever. But, like, as far as being able to actually, you know, contend for a championship in the 450 class, it's like with Craig's age, I mean, what can he really do in that amount of time? He's going to have to be amazing right out of the gate in the 450 class. He doesn't have any time to, like, fuck up for a couple years and then figure it out, like Cooper Webb or somebody like that. He ain't got no time for any of that. He's going to have to be, if he does win the 250 championship and he happens to get on Star Yamaha on the 450, that'd be best case scenario for him. Then he might have 2 or 3 good years of being able to might make something happen in the 450 class. So it is a bizarre situation, but I just want to come here and talk about it a little bit. You can't blame Craig, but at the end of the day, yes, it is very weird seeing a 30-year-old in the 250 class, no matter how you slice it, like I'm saying. But Craig did say this is going to be his last year regardless, so that is a fun triple on the 250 right there, dude. So, you know, kudos to him for, you know, manning up and being like, okay, no matter what happens this year, this is the last year I'm doing this shit right here, dude. So, you know, you got to give him props for saying that at least, you know. But it would be interesting if he didn't win the 250 title this year. What is he going to do? Just float away into Neverland? Or, like, you know, he has been having quite a few mistakes, crashes these past couple rounds, so hopefully Craig can hold it together. Obviously, his main contenders he got really lucky with what coast he was in and everybody getting injured in the way that they did. So there was no Jet Lawrence to have to battle. There was no Colt Nichols to have to battle. There was no, you know, hell, even could have been Justin Cooper he would have had to battle. Somehow, Christian Craig has maneuvered his way around with luck here and gotten himself to a point where he don't really have any competition in the 250 class. Kind of one of those rare coast years where everybody's injured to the point where you only really got one guy on that tippity-top level. So Craig's got to get it done this year, dog. He's got to get it done. But anyways, personally, I would love to see the rule change where it's just simple. Under the age of 30, you can race in the 250 class. Over the age of 30, you can't race in the 250 class. That's my own personal opinion. That's what I think AMA should do with that. But either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.